Hello, everybody. How you guys doing? My name is Reverend Ordo, and this is the Anonymous Republic Network. Okay. Now, the video is titled James Tilly Mathews, First Documented TI and First Case of Schizophrenia. Now, James Tilly Mathews, born 1770, died January 10th, 1815, was a British merchant who was committed to the Bethlehem Royal Hospital in 1797 as a developing politically charged delusions, which led him to disrupt these sessions of the House of Commons of Great Britain. These delusions were documented in a 1810 book titled Illustrations of Madness, including Mathews' belief that a group of spies were using a heirloom to secretly torment him from a distance. Modern historians consider Mathews to be the first full documented case of schizophrenia. Okay, now life. Voyage to France. In the early 1790s, concerned at the likelihood of war between British and France, Mathews traveled to France with a radical David Williams, who was acquaintance with such Girondins, Girondins, yes, as Jacques Pierre Bissot and Charles Francois Lebrun. Williams made efforts at mediation, which failed. Whereupon Mathews took the lead, he gained the trust of the French government for a short time. On June 2nd of 1793, the Girondins were displaced by the Jacobins, and Mathews fell under suspicion for the Girondins associates, and also because he was suspected of being a double agent. He was arrested and imprisoned for 3 years during the height of the terror, and was reportedly terrified of the guillotine like all others. This lasted until 1796, when the French authorities concluded that he was a lunatic and released him. Committal, Committal. Returning to London, Mathews wrote letters to Lord Liverpool, in which he accused the Home Security of treason and complained about conspiracies directed against his life. After interrupting the debate in the House of Commons, he shouted treason at Lord Liverpool from the public gallery. He was arrested and held in Tothill Fields Bridgewall, a secret house of corrections in Tothill Fields, Westminster, before being admitted to the Bethlehem, which is now known as Bedlam Hospital, on the 28th of January, 1797. Upon examination, he declared that he had taken part in the secret affairs of state, referring to his efforts in France, but had been betrayed and abandoned by William Pitt's administration. In 1809, his family and friends petitioned for his release on the grounds that he is no longer insane, but their petitions were rejected by the Bethlehem authorities. They therefore took out a suit of habeas corpus, and 2 doctors, George Birkbeck and Henry Clutterbuck, examined Mathews, declared him sane. Josh Haslam, the resident apothecary at Bethlehem, begged to differ and maintained that Mathews' delusions, particularly on political matters, rendered him a dangerous both to public figures and general public. In 1810, John Haslam produced the book Illusions of Madness, originally titled Illustration of Madness, exhibiting a singular case of insanity, but no less remarkable difference of medical opinion, developing the nature of an assailant in the matter of the working events with a description of torture experienced by bomb bursting, lobster cracking, and lengthening the brain, embellished with a curious plate. Haslam intended to settle the dispute over Mathews' insanity, but his book contains verbatim accounts of Mathews' belief and hallucinatory experiences, and is considered the original description of the symptoms of paranoid schizophrenia. The symptoms of paranoid schizophrenia. The book documented the first full study of the single psychiatric patient in medical history and has become a classic in the medical literature. The heirloom. Mathews believed that a gang of criminals and spies skilled in pneumatic chemistry has taken up residence at London Wall in Moorefield, close to Bethlehem, now Bedlam, and were tormenting him by means of rays emitting by a machine called the heirloom or gaseous charge generator. The torment abducted the rays included lobster cracking, during which the circulation, the blood was prevented by a magnetic field, stomach skinning, a perplexity working with nutmeg grater, which involves the introduction of fluids into the skull. His persecutors bore such names as the middlemen, who operated the heirloom, the gloved woman, and the Sir Archie, who acted as repeaters and active warriors to enhance Mathews' torment and record the machine's activities, and their leader, a man named called Bill or the King. Mathews' delusions had a quite defined political slant. He claimed that the purpose of this gang was espionage, and that there were many other such gangs armed with heirlooms all over London, using pneumatic practitioners to pre-magnetize potential victims of volatile magnetic fluids. According to Mathews, their chief targets, apart from himself, were leading government figures by means of their rays. They could influence ministers' thoughts and read their minds. Mathews declared that William Pitt was not half susceptible to the attacks, and held that these gangs were responsible for the British military disaster at Buenos Aires in 1807 and Walcheren in 1809, and also the Nore Mutiny of 1797. In 1814, Mathews was moved to Fox London House, a private asylum in Hackney, Hackney, which he became a popular and trusted patient. His illusions appeared to have stopped. Asylum's owner, Dr. Fox, regarded him as a sane Mathews' assistant with bookkeeping and gardening until his death in January 10th of 1815. Okay. Now, significance of the heirloom gang affair. Although it was impossible to make an unequivocal diagnosis of a person long since deceased, Mathews described his torment by heirloom gang reads as a classic example of paranoid persecutory delusion experienced as part of a psychotic episode. From this, it could be concluded that his disorder was mostly likely schizophrenia. Although a retrospective diagnosis should be treated with caution, modern historians consider Mathews to be the first fully case documented of schizophrenia, and also the first documented TI. It should also be noted that while Haslam kept notes on Mathews, Mathews kept notes on Haslam and his treatment of Bethlehem, which now is Bedlam. This formed part of the evidence looked at the House of Commons Committee on the Better Regulation of Madhouse in England in 1815, the findings of which led to Haslam's dismissal and reform of treatment of patients at Bethlehem Hospital. Mathews was also important in history of psychiatry for more practical reasons. During his involuntary confinement, he took part in a public competition to design plans for a rebuilding of Bethlehem Hospital. Bethlehem's governors thought, as well as 46 pages of design submitted by Mathews. They paid him £50, equivalent to £3,390 in 2025, and the drawing finally used to build the new hospital, showing some features proposed by Mathews. Okay, fictional representation. Haslam's key, a play written by journalist Daniel O'Brien, imagined Mathews as a forerunner of modern science fiction authors. The Tudor key, as a wooden spoon like a device invented by John Haslam, a documentary of Mathews' delusions, which was used to force feed Bedlam patients. In 2002, British artist Rod Dickinson built a recreation of the heirloom for Mathews' origin plans. Greg Hollinstead's novel Bedlam, 2004, concerns the changing relationship between John Haslam and Mathews, and is narrated in a first person from the perspective of Haslam, Mathews, and Mathews' wife. The CSI episode, Lab Rats, in 2007, Grissom used Mathews' condition as the analogy in describing the miniature killer, the serial killer obsessed with bleach. Robert Franklin's 2007 novel, Code, features a group of villains known as the Heirloom Gang, as well as a doctor named Dr. Archie, a pub called The Middleman, and the beef called King Billy. The game Amnesia, the Machine for Pigs from 2013 made several references to both James Tilly Mathews, the Heirloom, and the Bedlam. See also Francis E. Deck, Influencing Machine, Mind Control, Prescriptory Delusions, reference. David Trotter, 2001, The Paranoid Monerism, Literally Experiment, Psychosis, and the Professionalism of English Society, Oxford University Press, ISBN 0-19-818755-6. Mike J. 03, The Heirloom Gang, James Tilly Mathews, and his Visionary Madness. The Disposition magazine, archived from the original on May 13th of 08, retrieved January 31st of 08. Robert Howard, 2001, Psychiatry and Pictures, the British Journal of Psychiatry, the Journal of Mental Madness, British Journey of Psychiatry, retrieved in January of 08. Jonathan Briggs, Asa Porter Roy, Tucker, Penny Whittington Care, 97. The History of Bethlehem Hospital, London Religion, 406, page 406. ISBN 041-501-7734. Danny O'Brien, October 7th, 2024. Spesh.com Danny-Tilly.html. Danny O'Brien's token homage archived from the original 23rd of May 2001, retrieved of 7th of October 2024. Later articles, the origin of the influence machine on the origin of the influencing machine in schizophrenia, 1919 article of psychoanalysis. John Hassan, physician, English apothecary, physician and mental writer. Now, James Tilly Mathews was a first ever documented TI. Born in 1770, died in January 10th of 1850. And now some members of the TI community may need to read about James Tilly Mathews. He's also the first case documented having they call it schizophrenia, schizophrenia, and this was over 250 years ago. 250 years ago. A first ever documented case of schizophrenia, also the first documented TI. Now, this is something that David A. ain't got the balls to fucking do. Is look at this guy. First ever documented TI in the first case of call it the first again, David A. Captain Constipation and got the balls to look this guy up. James Tilly Mathews, first documented TI and a documented first case of schizophrenia. See here. See? First documented TI and the first documented case of schizophrenia. He was a merchant and considered a first fully documented case of schizophrenia. He was 44 or 45 when he died. And yeah. This is the this is the book that was written up by John Heslop, The Electrician of Madness. That's the book. And this is the Mathews illustration of the heirloom machine. Heirloom machine. This is the drawing he did. It's kind of sad that this guy's went through all this shit. I think it's kind of sad that he had to suffer. He had to suffer the way he did, and wasn't good at all. I mean, this guy's is the first documented TI, and also the first documented full case of schizophrenia. So it is sad. It is sad this guy had to go through all that. I seen a movie that my dear friend sent me, and I watched from beginning, middle, and plot twist. And when I finished watching the movie, I was like, dude, this guy went through so much hell and realized his sister, his sister was behind it all. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, dude, this guy went through so much hell, went through sleep deprivation, right? Been followed, had street theater on his ass, done him, all that shit, And I want to read from I want to read from the um I want to read a chapter from the Geneva Bible, the Akafia, the 1560 edition. I want to read a chapter from Bell and the Dragon. Let's see here. What are we here? What is Solomon? Okay, I'm gonna read a chapter here. This is from the. I'm gonna read chapter 3, and then I'm gonna read up to chapter 5. But the souls of the righteous are in the hands of God, and there shall no torment touch them. In sight of the unwise, they seem to die, and the departure was taken for misery. And they're going from us to be utter destruction, but they are in peace. For though they are punished in sight of men, yet is hopefully full of immortality. Having been little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded, for God tried them and found them worthy of himself. As gold in the furnace hath he tried them and received them as a burnt offering. In the time of their visitation, they shall shine and run to and fro like sparks among the stubble. They shall judge the nations and have dominion over the people, and their Lord shall reign forever. They, they, they that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love shall abide with them. For grace and mercy is to his saints, and he hath care for his elect. But the ungodly shall be punished according to their own imaginations, which have neglected righteousness and forsaken the Lord. For those he despises wisdom and nurture, he is miserable. They hope in vain, their labors unfruitful, and their works unprofitable. Their wives are foolish, and their children are wicked. Their offering is cursed, wherefore blessed is a barren that is undefiled, which hath not known the sinful bed. She shall have fruit in the vegetation of souls. The blessed of the eunuch, which with his hands hath wrought no inquiry, no iniquity, nor imagined wicked things against God. For unto him shall be given the special gift of faith, an inheritance in the temple of the Lord, more acceptable to his mind. For glorious to the fruit of good labors, and the root of wisdom shall never fail away. As for the children of adulterers, they shall not come for the perfection, and the seed of a unrighteousness bed shall be rooted out. For though they live long, yet shall be nothing regarded, and their last age shall be without honor. Or if they die quickly, they have no hope, neither comfort in the day of trial. For horrible the ends of the unrighteous generation. It's chapter 4. Better it is to have no children and to have virtue. For the memorial thereof is immortal, because it is known with God and with men. When it is present, men take example at it, and when it is gone, they desire it. It weareth a crown, and triumph forever. Hath got the victory, strive for undefiled rewards. But the multiplying brood of the ungodly shall not thrive, nor take deep rooting from bastard slips, nor lay any fast foundation. For though they flourish in the branches of the time, yet standing not last, they shall be shaken with the wind, and through the force of winds they shall be rooted out. The perfect branches shall be broken off, their fruit unprofitable. By right to eat ye meat for nothing. For children begotten that unfoundless, unlawful, for children begotten of unlawful beds are witnesses of wickedness against their parents in their trial. But though be righteousness be prevented with death, yet shall be in rest. For the honorable age is not that which standeth for length of time, nor that is measured by numbers of years, but wisdom is a gray hair unto men, and the unspotted life of old age. He pleased God and was beloved of him, so they lived among sinners. He was translated, ye speedily was taken, he taken away, lest the wicked should alter his understanding, or deceit beguile his soul. For the bewitched of naughtiness doth obscure things that are honest, and the wandering of consequent conspicuous doth undermine the simple mind. He being made perfect in a short time, fulfilling a long time. For his soul pleased the Lord, therefore haste he to take him away from among the wicked. This is this the people saw and understood. If not, neither laid up this in their minds, that his grace and mercy is with his saints, and that he hath respect unto his chosen. Thus the righteousness that the dead shall condemn the ungodly, which are living in youth, is that sin perfect to many years and old age of the righteousness. For they shall see the God of the wise, and shall not understand what God in his counsel hath decreed of him, and to what end the Lord hath sent him in safety. They shall see him and despise him, but God shall laugh them to scorn, and they shall hereafter be vile carcasses, and their reproach among the dead evermore. And he shall rend them and cast them down headlong, that they shall be speechless, and he shall shake them from the foundation. They shall be utterly laid waste and be in sorrow, and their memorial shall perish, And when they cast up the accounts of their sins, they shall come with fear, and their own iniquities shall convince them to their face. Yeah. That was chapter 3 and 4 from the Geneva Bible. And so I want now. I've been kind of looking more about gang stalking for over a year, and the more I learned, the more I understood. And with many discussions that myself and my dear friend had and has had over a year and a half, I've learned a lot. She's taught me a lot to understand. Will I be a victim? Sure, I would. Down the line, am I immune? No, I'm not immune. But what I am is a glitch in the matrix. I earned that title because the people running this program don't want victims of this program to have any friends that are not TIs. I'm not a TI, but I'm a friend of one, and who I love very much, like a big sister, And I met KG the other night, and we had a good discussion. She came live on my broadcast, and really awesome, really good discussion. I'm like, dude, this woman went through a lot of hell, man. For years, since she was a baby. And this programs is government sponsored. It was part of the CIA black budget, MK Ultra, MK Naomi, Project Bluebeam, all that shit. And James Clay Mathews, he's the first documented TI and the first documented full case of schizophrenia. And I know that I may get hit with some kind of information policy. I may get hit with some medical information. Was it they called it the medical misinformation policy? But I read it from Wikipedia. I'm gonna show you here, guys. I'm gonna show you. This is an article from Wikipedia, and it says here. This is a article from Wikipedia, which I read. James Clay Mathews, born in 1770, he died January 10th of 1815 at the age of 44 or 45, and he was a merchant. That was his occupation, his job, known for considered a first full uh, first fully documented case of schizophrenia. Now, I read of his life, committal, of his fictional representation, significance of the heirloom gang affair that was happened. Um, this is the heirloom machine that he drew. that's what he drew, and that's what he um, and The Illusionist of Madness. This is a book that was written by John Haslam, and Committal, um, his Voyage to France, his life. Um, but he is the first documented target individual, and again, a first documented full case of schizophrenia. And he was 44, 45 when he died. Um, a merchant. He was a merchant. Um, okay. But I want to share this video with you guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and so we're already almost 40 minutes in. I want to really I want this video to be a talking piece among everybody. Because I mean, you may have someone in your family that has some mental disease or something like that. Schizophrenia, um, some kind of mental disorder, something like that. Um, it's huge. It's very, very huge, guys. I want this video to be a talking piece among everybody whose family is suffering from the case of it. Of schizophrenia, and I'm doing this to make an awareness for this cause, and also I want to help with the awareness of documented targeting, of people, and it's serious. It is very, very serious. Some of you may be targeted and not know it. Really, I mean, it just it's something to talk about, and um, again, I'm considered a glitch in the matrix. As I sit here, I'm a friend of a targeted survivor, um, who's speaking out. And about a year ago, or around this time, I was her mod, and I mentioned it a couple times or a few times, where there needs to be a support group. Like there's a support group for alcoholics, drug addiction, gambling. Um, there has to be something like that for targeted individual survivors that are surviving. But every time it's mentioned, my dear friend will get attacked for it, because the thing is, you got this religious, narcissistic, uh, uh, we call it the religious, narcissistic, Zionist Christian, David A. Yes, aka Captain Constipation. Um, he came after me last year, and tried to really, but um, I didn't fall for it. I didn't fall for it because I mean I'm too old for bullshit. I'm too old for childish bullshit. I'm 50, by the way. I'm 50. Okay, and you have targeted survivors that are victims. Um, And so I want to help speak on behalf of target individuals that are survivors. What help, And I get asked sometimes, twice so far, twice, are you a TI? No. Are you lying? I said, no, I'm a friend of one. I'm a friend of a TI survivor. And I am a glitch in the matrix on her behalf. And I won't mention her name or where she lives because for safety, I am here to protect my friend. I am her friend, and she is like my big sister. That's how we treat each other. I'm like a little brother. She's my big sister. That's how we always talk. And she is a targeted survivor, but still dealing with the bullshit. There are some people out there that are, how you say, envy in a way, because she's speaking out. She's a fighter. She's a survivor, wanting to help other TIs, man, survivors. You got one guy. He's a religious narcissistic piece of shit. One other one who's trying to sell her house, and she can't do it because of issues that she's going through herself. But yet, you know, um, in that situation, trying to sell your house can make things difficult for yourself. Just making things difficult. I'm not talking bad about anybody. I'm saying, I mean, if you're a TI and you're trying to sell your house, trying to do so would be very difficult. Period. Period. Um, but you got one guy. Uh, I call him Burger Boy. Burger Boy. He's given money for Suboxone, which is a drug. Right, drug. This religious narcissist gives him money to get a Suboxone, and why is that? Okay, I'll tell you why. If a person is under the influence of a narcotic, of a certain kind of narcotic, they are easily controlled. They're easily controlled, and the reason is to keep the one who's given the money to do so hands clean. Well, ladies and gentlemen, David A's hands aren't clean. They're not clean because he's giving Burger Boy money for Suboxone. Why? As long as he's under this narcotic, he's easily controlled. Because this kind of drug can really screw with your mind, man. It's like PCP, right? PCP, or fentanyl, or opiates. It screws with your mind, man. It screws with your judgment. It screws with everything that deals with your mind, And um, it deals with your mind, and as long as your mind's fogged, you are susceptible to suggestions and mind control. And David A, he's a narcissistic, a religious narcissistic, you know, um, a Jim Jones, a David Koresh, um, a Billy Sunday. a Benny Hinn, Peter Popovich, another Robert Tilton, all that shit. Oh, and these kind of people, they use scripture. Oh, Kenneth Copeland. These kind of people would use particular scriptures to control you, okay, to control you, or put fear into you. And so Captain Constipation will give Burger Boy money. David A, aka Captain Constipation, would give Burger Boy, aka Joey Barnes, money for Suboxone. Why? Because he's a drug addict. He needs that drug to try to remove things that are in his head, which would do more harm than good. Because once you're on that drug, on that narcotic, your mind is going to be fogged for a long time. The more you want it, the more your mind will go fog, man. So the best thing to do is, hey, shit. I mean, it's like, you really got to really think. Okay, think. Now you got these these individuals called they're called like flying monkeys. I call them flying butt monkeys. Okay, that's a name I give them. But my question for them is my question for them is what's your end game? Okay, what's the thing like you may follow a guy, right? But here's the thing. My question for David A is, do you know, do you ever stop and think that maybe most of your subscribers are bots and also uh, government people that use bots? See, some of his subscribers could be bots, could be some kind of, you know, kind of like a faithful slave, because Jim Jones had thousands of them, almost 1,000 people that followed him all the way to Guyana. Almost 1,000 people. They were like, "Oh, thank you, Mr. Jones. Thank you, Jim Jones. Thank you so much." The guy had everybody around his pinky, right? Jim Jones led a mass suicide. He, he, he calls it the revolutionary suicide. That's been the term drinking the Kool-Aid. And you had, the Manson family. They all followed what Manson wanted them to do. And he gave them a huge amounts of LSD. He took a little bit, but just enough to control them. You know, and these flying butt monkeys are equivalent to the people of Guyana and the Manson family members. All willing to follow this one turd in the punch bowl. You know, so there's many questions, man. Many questions that we all have, man. You're like, dude, how far can this guy go? Right? He came after me last year. You know, um, I put him in timeout for 24 hours when I was a mod. And his girlfriend went to my dear friend and said, "Hey, you need to talk to your friend." No, she don't. No, she don't. So he came after me. He said, "Yeah, I know her for a year." Dude, I know her for 5 years. So who cares? I know my dear friend for 5 years. Captain Constipation. Here's a guy who he admits of wiping his girlfriend's ass. He admits of wiping his girlfriend's ass. Dude, hey, Captain Constipation, why do you wipe your girlfriend's ass? Who wears the pants in that relationship? Her or you? Does she ever wipe your ass? Bet she does. Religious narcissist, aka Captain Constipation. Joey Barnes, aka Burger Boy, on drugs. Mr. Brain Fog. I don't I don't I don't get it. I don't fucking get it, you know. You got you got a guy on the streets who gets money on YouTube all the time, gets money from the religious narcissist, aka Captain Constipation. So so Burger Boy could get his drugs and get brain fogged while the religious narcissist, David A, aka Captain Constipation, keeps Hansley. But let's face facts, folks. Giving someone money to buy and to get the drugs, Suboxone. Doesn't that say that David A is a drug pusher? Huh? I mean, he's giving them money for Suboxone. I mean, Suboxone's the drug, just like fentanyl and opiates. They're all illegal drugs, right? And all three, what it does to the mind, it fogs the mind, man. It does. It fogs the mind. It makes a person paranoid, man. Opiates, fentanyl, Suboxone, these narcotics will make a person paranoid, man. You know, like that. You know, shit. You know, I mean, it just don't make any sense. Like, here's a guy giving Burger Boy money for Suboxone. Why? To keep him in line, even though Burger Boy talks crap on this religious narcissist. Really? I mean, it boggles the inquiring mind of what the fuck, okay? What the fuck, okay? What the fuck? Now, James Tilly Mathews, the first documented TI, first documented TI, born in 1770, died January 10th, 1850. Now, that's almost 220 years. That's almost 222 years ago. January 10th. Almost 224 years ago. 1815, 2026. 223 years ago. No. 221 years ago. First ever documented TI. Died January 10th, 1815. Born 1770. He was 44, 45 when he died. He was the first full documented case of schizophrenia. That guy had a rough life. He had a rough life. He was a merchant. James Lee Mathews went through hell. I mean, there wasn't no CIA at the time. There was no OSS at the time. No FBI. None of that shit. The guy lived in England. He lived in England. I went to France. Went to Bethlehem Hospital for delusions and shit. Said about the air boom, the air, was it, what was it? It was called it what was it? The heirloom affair. Mathews believed that a gang of criminals and spies skilled in a pneumatic chemistry had taken up residence at the London Walls and Moorfields, close to Bethlehem, and were tormenting him by means of ray emitting by the machine called the heirloom or gaseous charge generator. The torment induced by the rays, including the lobster cracking, during which circulation of the blood was prevented by the magnetic field, stomach skinning, apoplexy working with a nutmeg grater, um, um, which involved the introduction of the fluid into the skull. And prosecutors bore such names as the middlemen, who operated the heirloom of the gloved woman, and Sir Archie, who acted as the repeaters and active warriors to enhance Matthew's torment and record machine activities. And there later a man named Bill, called Bill or the King. Um, I think it's really, I mean, the guy was 44, 45 when he died. And first documented TI in the first case of schizophrenia. Um, I want this video to be a talking point amongst everybody. I mean, not just video to watch and leave, just a talking point, talking piece, because some of you may have someone in your family that has paranoid, paranoid schizophrenia, and I'm doing this video on awareness of both targeting and case of paranoid schizophrenia. So if any of you are new to this channel, like, subscribe, share. Again, like, subscribe, comment below, share, hit the bell for notification. Okay. And always live healthy, well, and wise. I love you guys. And I'll see all guys in the next broadcast. Peace out. Godspeed. Buddha bless. And quote the Raven. Days nuts. Peace.